because of the slowdown post-COVID-19. Who better than Dr. Niranjan Hiranandani joining us on the show to give us really a perspective on where the sector could be headed. Mr. Hiranandani, morning. And I must say you've been very active during the lockdown as well. Lots of webinars that you've been attending with Mr. Deepak Parekh, with Aditya Thackeray. Help us understand what really is the sector outlook, because like I said in my introductory comment, the sector in any case was running bleak. You were just about seeing, those commercial real estate figures actually turn the tide, and now you've got this double whammy coming in from the COVID-19 pandemic. What are we staring at? A standstill? And how long will that standstill continue?
Honestly, very difficult to guesstimate about the COVID-19. Much more difficult to understand how and when we are going to start. My gut feel as far as this is concerned that we should in the next 1 week do a partial startup in most of the areas, barring those which are extremely into the red areas. I'm hoping that that will happen. Once that takes a slow start, it will take about 1 to 3 months for the industry to actually get back to action. But the problem doesn't end over there. There are two other problems which are major. One is the demand driver, which has vanished. And the second part of it is the liquidity crisis, which still is not completely addressed, though a good start was made by the RBI governor in terms of providing a 2-year sabbatical for the purposes of real estate in terms of extension of time. My reading is personally that they will need to do much more in terms of demand drivers, something like a GST reduction of 50% or so across the board. And I speak also as an ASSOCHAM chairman, president. And the second part, which I feel needs to be addressed even more quickly, is the fact that the liquidity issue, though it has been cleared by the Reserve Bank of India, we still have almost 7 lakh crores of rupees lying back by the banks with the Reserve Bank in reverse. Now, if that does not go down to the marketplace, I don't see anything picking up before 1 year's time. But if they can push this liquidity into the market, I think we can start reviving by December.
It's a very valid point that you're making, and we were just chatting about that as well this morning. The failed TLTRO 2.0, the fact that banks don't want to lend, they're still sitting on the sidelines. Liquidity definitely is going to be an issue and a challenge going forward. But Mr. Hiranandani, what about the issue that we were talking about previously, that of migrant labours? How soon do you think that issue can be resolved? Because, that's going to be critical for projects to restart.
I had a chat with the Honorable Home Secretary of India last evening, and I did point out to him that the labor is going to be very volatile. There are two issues there. Issue number one is that the labor, even though we are giving them food and shelter, are not really satisfied with that. They want to go to work. If they don't get work in the next 1 week, they will all gravitate to the villages for two reasons, because food is available over there from their families. And number two, Manrega is being distributed with much more aggressively than what is being given to migrant workers. So what is really going to happen is that irrespective of what policing we try to do, the migrant workers will, within another 8-10 days, start moving back to the villages. In the last 1 week, at least, we have realized that 4,000 workers in the Mumbai region have moved towards UP and the rest of Maharashtra, irrespective of the lockdown, many of them going on bicycles, some of them going walking, and this thing has already started. But I'm a little worried that this may become a kind of a norm which may happen if the work is not started. So we do insist that on the guidelines given by the Home Ministry, at least the workers who are there in situ should be, the work starting should be given immediately.
Okay, Mr. Hiranandani, in terms of relief, what else? What else are you watching out for? Because we actually haven't yet heard anything as we've seen, but but there are a lot of expectations that a package is in the work.
I don't know if the package is in the works or not, but what we have asked for is close to 14 lakh crores. We have also asked for a GST reduction of 50% for a period of 6 months. We've also asked for a credit guarantee scheme to the banks of 40% of the additional lending, because otherwise banks are not lending. And we also see that there must be the dues of the government are not paid. IT refunds are not paid, VAT refunds are not paid, NHAI payments are not paid, discount payments are not made, fertilizer payments are not made, state government payments are not made, various PSUs are not making payments. This is more than nearly 2,25,000 crores. Even if this money, which is due by the government to various people, is started, that could be a good start of the stimulus package that will be there. And of course, demand needs to be restored also. One of the good things which happened yesterday was that the NCLT suspension for 6 months will prevent any further items going into liquidation. And I think that was necessary, and the ordinance has been issued, though I believe that President's sanction is expected today.
All right. Mr. Hiranandani, are there particular segments that you still expect may recover a little faster than the others, or do you feel this is going to be an extremely long, painful, elongated recovery, given that the sector was already reeling before this happened?
Real estate is always a slow progress. When it goes down, it goes slowly. When it goes up, it goes slowly. So I do not expect that it will happen overnight. Certainly, it's going to take a longer period of time as far as real estate is concerned. But that's the type of work which real estate is about. But I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about if the overall GDP is not improved, if the overall demand is not improved, then real estate cannot improve. So what we really need to do is not only look after real estate, but also look after the rest of the economy. Let me just highlight one additional point. 7% of the GDP of India is directly related to real estate. 15% of the workforce in India is relating to construction and real estate. So if you don't support these sectors in a more holistic way, whether from a down-up and from an up-down position, in terms of not giving doles alone, but to be able to see that the liquidity and demand position is made available. It's a driver of the economy. We are supporting 260 industries. So the point is that it's a multiplier effect if you push real estate back into action.
Mr. Hiranandani, thanks so much for joining in and walking us through what really are the demands of the real estate sector from the government and what sort of push are they expecting to help recover rather from the COVID-19 pandemic impact.